Hey, what's up, everybody? This is an open discussion with C3 Films. My name is Chris, and this is.
Cheryl.
And today we're going to be talking about the Netflix limited series Inventing Anna. So we are going to be going into spoiler territory here. So if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix right now. I think it's rated #1 on Netflix at the time of this recording. So go out and check it out, and then come back and enjoy our video. But let's go ahead and jump right into this. So I didn't know anything about this, and you mentioned it to me to check it out, and I when I first turned it on, the first thought I had was, why does Cheryl have me watching this crap? This does not seem like something that even Cheryl would like to watch, because all I see is paleness, and I don't understand why I'm here. This opening dialogue is pissing me off. I don't like who this woman is. I don't like. Oh my god! And this has to deal with some rich annoying girl, and that's what this is going to be my story. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to get behind this show at all. What is wrong with you, Cheryl? And then it kept going. I looked up Shonda Rhimes because the name sounded familiar. Shonda Rhimes also has my birthday, just a couple of years before me, and by a couple I mean like at least over a decade. But we share the same birthday. But when I saw that it was Shonda Rhimes, I was like, okay, let me. It started to make me think a little differently. But then also, as the first episode progressed and I realized what the structure of the show was going to be, I became more interested in the mystery, which is what the show is built around, which is, who is this girl Anna, and how did she con her way into these situations with these people, and what did she do? Like, what actually happened? We're coming in at the almost kind of in the middle of the story, and then we're going to get bits and pieces to see the beginning that brought us here, and then go towards the end. So once I was able to fall into place of what the show is actually supposed to be, I wasn't angry at you anymore.
Ooh, good thing I had you watch 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, I had heard about this woman who was kind of like, kind of. I don't even know what the situation was at the time, but there were like accusations of her. I don't think there was quite a conclusion yet at the time because it was a couple years ago. But I do remember reading an article about this woman who um, basically conned her way into being a socialite in New York and like living the high life, but she really had nothing. And I just remember going like, how do you even do that? Like
Yeah.
how can you be so good at conning? Like I can't even make a cool like legit Halloween costume. How am I supposed to like get some like Prada products or whatever, like the Gucci and everything, strut around, and like I don't even know how to get to a penthouse in I don't know which building, right? So in New York. So like the idea that someone was able to do that, like you have to be, some level of smart, or at least some level of street smart. And so it just became like a very interesting thing because I don't usually read stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but reading that article, I was just very interested, and like it was just kind of unbelievable. And then I heard about this show, and I didn't really know. I'm like you, or what you said about me. I was like, oh, this is very pale. I don't think I want to watch it. But then I was like, oh, it's Shonda Rhimes, and I do remember this story, and
Right.
so I was like, I was intrigued. I wanted to learn more about it. Then I started watching it, the first episode, and I was like, I think I'm gonna hate this show because she's really
Wow.
annoying, and like the way she talks is like incredibly annoying at the beginning. But then once you start to like really like meet her character and see her like actually interacting with other people, you kind of get used to that like weird
Yeah.
accent that she has. And you kind of find out later that the reason why her accent is kind of, or you kind of just draw that conclusion of the reason why her accent is so weird is because she speaks 7 different languages.
Right.
So it's like a mixture of all this different stuff, and I'm kind of interested. Like, I really want to see if there's like an actual video of the real, the
Mm.
real Anna, because I want to know like how good this actress did with
Portraying her.
portraying her.
Yeah. So first off, I have to beg to differ. I think that your Harley Quinn and your Jack Sparrow outfits were quite superb. So I think that you could make any good outfit, just so you know. So don't sell yourself short on that. But, but that's beside the point. The main thing I was going to say was, so one thing that the show did that also pissed me off initially, which by the way, I love the fact that we had the same kind of journey. But the other thing that it did that bothered me was that it says everything in this story is real except for all the parts that are made up. And I'm like, okay, well, at that point, then it might as well all be made up because I don't know what you're lying about versus what you're telling the truth about. So you might as well not even say it's based on a true story. So this whole line is stupid to me. Um, so I didn't actually realize that it was a real thing for real until just now when you said that you read an article about it. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, so it might be one of those things where it's based on a true story from the standpoint of a person like this existed and did a thing, but maybe some of the other stuff is stylized for Hollywood purposes. But that being said, that does intrigue me as well because I was going into this just thinking that everything was made up and that this whatever, but you just confirmed that this actually did happen.
Yeah, and I thought that it's funny you brought that up too because that also bothered me. I thought it was funny the first time, but then
Yeah,
they do that at the beginning of every episode, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I don't think this needs to be in every episode because they do it in a different way every episode.
right.
Um, it's I just feel like it doesn't fit the tone. Like, it fit the tone for the opening of the first
Right.
episode, but then after that, like, the show is like a lot different from the beginning of the first episode. And like now, like, being in the second, third episode, it's a regular show now. So
Yeah.
having that like weird opening doesn't really fit anymore.
Right. Yeah. And like I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but when I saw in the second episode, I rolled my eyes again. Um, and I think I literally said out loud, "What is Netflix doing?" And it probably became because we also watched the woman in the house across the street from the girl in the window for this our Twitch segment, and that show also had me asking, "What is Netflix doing?" So
Yeah, these are yeah, the two shows that we talked about today, or talking about today, are very weird. They're interesting. They're quirky. Definitely not like a typical show. They're just a little unique, I guess. That's probably what Netflix was going for.
right, and yeah, and only time will tell by the time we get to the end how well the overall product um, is handled. But I will say the one thing that this show had for me over the other thing that we watched was the fact that the characters, I find the characters really interesting. I actually like a lot of the characters, even the rich jerks. I find them kind of intriguing. I think the guy's name is Val, I think. I
Mm-hmm.
like that character. I
Yeah.
like seeing him. I like having him interact. Even when he's talking to the reporter lady and he's talking about her outfit and how it's just terrible, and he's just going into detail about why it's terrible, and she's like, "I get it." I like you were talking about laughing. That made me laugh. I thought, "Oh my god, this guy is amazing." Even though this is someone I'd probably hate in real life, but I found myself liking these characters and even caring. Like when he gets into this point when he's asked by Anna's boyfriend at the time, Chase, to look at her passport, and he does it, and then Chase in the next scene like turns on him and is talking about why would you do that, bro? That's not cool. and he's like going off. He's betrayed. He's feeling betrayed. I felt that for him. I actually really cared about the fact that they did that to him and that he was hurting. And so, and then the other character that I really liked as a standout for me is the hotel clerk, and I don't remember her name, but she also is a character like that impressed me, not right off the bat, but impressed me because when you first meet her, you think that she's a throwaway character you're not going to see again. She's just someone taking money to allow this reporter into the hotel room that Anna stayed in. But then you find out that she actually was friends with Anna. And then in that moment when the reporter is trying to, you know, get friendly with her, brought her some coffee. And I love the moment that the hotel clerk just realizes exactly what's going on and calls the woman out on it and goes in depth about like how everybody wants something and you wanted this for me and blah blah. And I was like, oh, so you smart. Oh, okay, we like this, we with it. And I think that might have been the turning point for me with the show, where I was like, okay, you have well written characters, show, so I can get on board with this. And it's caused the reporter lady to also change her tune and to be more honest about who she was and what she wanted. And what she wanted was to fix her career before she had a baby, which I also think is another great element that we don't normally see in shows, where normally it's like, hey, if a woman is pregnant, it's all about that kid. But sometimes it's like, hey, look, I love my kid. Don't get me wrong, but I also want my career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I mean that's the thing about Shonda Rhimes' writing and why I love her stuff so much. Like a lot of it can be a little like over the top and dramatic, like this stuff would never happen. Like that's how Grey's Anatomy is,
Mm-hmm.
Scandal and even Bridgerton, like they're not real. Like and like
Yeah.
they're based on real things, but they're not real and they're definitely over the top. But she always has these moments where they really explore real life moments where you come across like injustice, and then you have the characters voicing for like the minorities and the groups that are affected. And I love that she incorporates that stuff into her shows because it gives us a chance to like have someone say how we really feel on TV. So
Right.
that's one of the reasons why I feel like it just feels good to watch her shows. And it really did feel like a Shonda Rhimes show. There were characters from Grey's Anatomy, like, or not characters, but cast members from Grey's Anatomy that were also in this show. So I'm like,
Oh, I've
okay,
never seen
cool.
Grey's Anatomy, so I don't know.
Oh, I've seen all 12 seasons.
Of course. So that's cool then. So she recast people that she likes working with.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know how many seasons there are, but I'm up to date. So I
You've
lost
seen a lot.
track. Yeah,
You were
I
in there for
think
a long haul.
yeah, I think it's actually maybe 16. But anyways, I digress. Like I don't know. I definitely want to finish the show. It's definitely not like my favorite Shonda Rhimes thing.
Hmm.
But I think just the sheer fact that it's based on a true story or based on a true character, I kind of want to see more about like what happened.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that both the shows have that we talked about today, besides the fact that they're like quirky and weird, but the thing that they have actually going for them is that there's an underlying mystery that is intriguing that you want to kind of see through to the end. In the case of the woman in the house, it's the mystery of if someone actually die, and if someone did die, how are they getting away with this right now? With this, it's really trying to figure out who this woman is, because in many ways it almost feels like a documentary when I'm watching it. Like obviously it's not, but if you guys have ever seen Tiger King, it almost feels like moments like that where they're interviewing this larger than life character that just seems so not human, or all these characters just feel like this is not how real people are, but this, yeah, it clearly is. And in this, like, there are parts where she's talking to her and she's interviewing Anna, trying to understand who she is, where it just, those interactions, it makes it feel like this is a, like, I know that it's a show based on a real person, but it feels like almost documentary style, and discovering the truth of what happened and going back and like documenting it all. So that element of it is what's going to keep me going forward in the show. That and like the fact that I have started to at least like some of the characters we've come across.
Yeah. It definitely feels didn't I feel like we watched a different show or another show about prison life, but this one I don't think really depicts prison life very accurately. Like I don't think it's that easy. Like I think in real life in prisons like everyone just shares underwear. Like it all goes to the same laundry and then you get whatever you get. You don't get your own set of clothes cuz that kind of like defeats the purpose of your
Right.
independence, right?
Right.
In prison life. So I thought it was interesting that she was like, bring me this, bring me that, because I don't think it really works that way.
Right. She's like, I accessorize my prison outfit. I'm like,
Yeah, and she made a very big deal about like getting like a media interview. You get
yeah,
like a private car and like a private room and everything and so it was just like so even in prison she wants the high life.
right. And see, that's the part that also intrigues me because when I look at that, because yeah, oh man, once again, like the similarities, with the woman in the house, it's like, is this really happening? Is this does this exist? Is this woman who she says he is, or what she said happened? In this, it feels like, okay, is she actually somebody that did come from money and people are misunderstanding her because that's why she's saying she wants to go to trial because she wants to prove to everybody that she's not some dumb socialite or something like that she's a businesswoman and that she's smart. And then when I hear her try to do things like get me to the VIP room and everything, do a VIP interview, it makes me think, oh, you're a con woman. And that's what I start to believe. I was like, oh, so you're just somebody that likes the high life. And what I'm seeing right now is an example of how you con your way into the high life. The way you con your way into these socialite settings is the same way you conned your way into getting a VIP room while in prison for an interview. So I'm intrigued of how much of what I'm seeing is what I think she actually is, or what the show is going to like show me that was going to like throw me back and forth. Like we talked about, like the pull and push from the woman in the woman in the house. I think the pull and push of this is going to be, oh, she's a con artist. Oh, actually, she's maybe she is actually coming from a good family, or maybe something bad happened in Germany / Russia. Or nope, she's lying about this too. So I think
Innocent or
that is
guilty.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah, like what is the truth? That's like a big theme for both of these shows today. What is the truth? I I am
Exactly.
gonna thinking I don't know like would you be interested in like reading about what actually happened, like actually looking into Anna's story outside of the show to see like what really happened, or like was she convicted or
Yeah,
whatnot, or do you want to wait until you're done watching the show and see like how
oh,
the show goes before you find out what happened in real life?
I think because I don't know anything about the real world story, the fact that I'm in the show now, I think I'd rather finish the show first and then read about it. But I do find the fact that a person like this actually existed to be very intriguing, and I would like to know what was the what was the end goal? Because I guess the reason that she got arrested was because I guess she was getting convicted of fraud because I guess fraud she got these people to use their money on her by lying and say who she was. But I there's a part of me that I'm like, well, if just because you think that she's somebody that has money doesn't mean you like she never forced you to spend money on her. You did it because you wanted to. So just because she had a look and you made assumptions, or even if she lied, she never actually just stole your money. So like I don't know. There's a part of me that's kind of like, did she actually do anything wrong? Like she swindled you, sure, but kind of smart. So I don't know. I don't know what the rules are on that when it comes to like fraud and like everything else like that. But I I definitely would be curious to see what the final result was for her, if she was convicted or if she was released, or if she got like a short term sentence. Because I did the math, she'd be around our age. She'd be like
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 years younger than us.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's also why I thought it was super interesting is because of like how close in age she is to us. But I do feel like I'm a little biased because I read the article.
Mm,
Even though I don't remember it, I just feel like part of me, like, I mean, I don't remember the details of it. I just remember the gist of it. But I think part of me feels a little biased towards believing that she is a con artist. And so
okay.
part of me wants to, like actually look it up and read about it so that I could have like a better understanding of what the truth was while I watched the show. Because right now I'm just like, oh, it's going to end with her being a con artist. And so this is no surprise. But I'm not actually sure if like she went to trial or not, if they had like actually proven that she was a con artist, like, or who she is. I don't remember. I just remember they were pointing at her being a con artist. And so I'm just I don't know. I just feel very biased. And I don't
I
know if I
mean,
should
yeah.
read into it before I watch the rest of the show or just watch the show.
Well, I'm curious if the show is going to prove you right or wrong on that, or if the show even might go a different direction, right? Because everything is true except for the stuff that isn't. So, like, we'll see. Maybe they like sometimes when I've seen shows like this in the past, they actually have a different outcome than what happened in real life. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we'll see. But I mean, it was 5 years ago at this point, so there's a good chance. I mean, I'm pretty sure the story would have concluded by now. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I guess I just want to know if what like how close to the truth is the show that I'm watching, or is it just kind of way off doing its own thing? Because I know that Shonda Rhimes likes to do that. She likes to just go off and do her own thing.
I see. Okay. But it's a limited series, so by the end of the season, it should be the end of the show, right?
I think so. Yeah. I don't think there will be a season 2 because it's based on a true story. So.
It's interesting that seems to be doing a little more limited series. At least I've started noticing more. When we talked about Midnight Mass, that was a limited
Mm-hmm.
series. Obviously, The Woman in the House is a limited series, and now this. So I wonder if this is something that Netflix wants to start doing in the future, of just having one season type shows. Pretty
Yeah.
interesting. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. And I think part of the reason why I like having a limited series is because it's like a good amount of content where you have enough room to tell a really interesting story, but it's not so long where it's dragging on and on and on forever. And it has a clear end in sight. So it makes it like, because like when you have these shows that go on like Grey's Anatomy, where there's like, you know, it's 10 years plus of the same thing over and over again, and they have to come up with new stuff, and like there's no clear ending, and so by the time you get to the end of the series, like, I don't know, like How I Met Your Mother, and then it just has this really weird, awkward ending that doesn't make any sense because they had to end the show because of the
Right.
ratings. But when you have a limited series, then you have a clear point at which the story is complete. And so you have what you end up with is a very cohesive story. And
Right.
so I think that's why having a limited series makes a great um, story.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you get to go out on your terms.
Exactly.
So, yeah, no, I definitely would like to see more limited series, because it also feels easier to get into because you know that, like you said, there is an ending. So, 100%, I definitely want to see more. Is there anything else that you want to say specifically about Inventing Anna that we haven't gotten to kind of touch on? I mean, the episodes are pretty long and there's a lot that happened, but did we miss anything that you just really want to get off your chest?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, so that's what we thought about Inventing Anna. And as always, guys, we're cutting it a little bit short today because we have a couple other things, but we always talk on our Twitch channel some more about the things that we discuss on our YouTube channel. So if you want to check us out on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/C3Films. But what did you guys think about Inventing Anna? Do you know about the real story, and how do you feel like that real story is comparing to the story that Shonda Rhimes is telling? And like, do you want to see more limited series from Netflix? But whatever you thought about this and other things, comment below. Let us know. And we're down there. If you give us a like, share, subscribe, it really does help us out. Even if you don't, though, I have been Chris, and this has been
Cheryl, and we'll see you all next time.